works better. So guys, welcome. Today we're going to talk about video. We're going to talk about a video solution that Atea is bringing out to the market. We're going to take a look at two things. But before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rasmus Almqvist. I work for a company called Cisco Systems. My job is a product sales specialist. So what I do is I help customers like yourself take full advantage of the Cisco solution. My job is not only to sell stuff to you, but actually to show you how you can make money out of it. So I'm going to spend the first roughly 25 minutes on talking about how you can take Cisco gear, basically, visual communications, unified communications, and make as much money as possible using the equipment for your employer. Then, if you can stand up, my colleague Marius Vaitonis from Atea is going to talk about what that actually means. What kind of units do you want? He's going to be focusing more on the savings part. So consider this a two-level conversation. First about how to make money and then how to save money. During the course of the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. If you disagree, feel free to throw something at me. I will be more than happy to dodge the bullets. If you participate, I guarantee there are good prizes that I will hand out. So with that, let's get started and let's take a look at the full collaboration portfolio. You know, Cisco has been, for a number of years, the #1 player within the IP telephony side. We are the biggest player. We are the one that is dominating the market on this side. But something that is actually forgotten quite often is the fact that we are, in fact, a big player within the unified communication side. So anything relating to communications, and that is rich communications, is something that we can enable. And in fact, what we do is use one solution, which is called the Cisco Unified Communications Manager, to enable all these 4 aspects. So from an IP communications perspective or IP telephony perspective, if you already have a Unified Communications Manager sitting somewhere there doing your IP telephony stuff, good stuff. Congratulations, you won the jackpot. Because now, with that same Unified Communications Manager, you can do contact centers because it's running on the same application, actually the same server stuff. You can do instant messaging and presence. So there's no need to go out there and start shopping for these complicated server-based solutions that would come from the guys from Redmond. You only need the Unified Communications Manager to make sure that you have that rich collaboration sitting on one platform. And today we're going to talk about the 4th element, which is visual communications, video conferencing. All that can be run on the same platform. And I guarantee in your company, someone right now is thinking about one of these 4 things. And probably pretty soon they're going to come to you, if you're an IT manager, and they're going to ask, how can we get that instant messaging and presence throughout our organization in a secure way? How can we deploy contact centers? So the message to you today is, you can get everything from that one server. You don't have to go out and shop for a separate contact center solution, a separate video communication solution, a separate instant messaging and presence solution, or an IP telephony solution. If you have it, if you don't have it, I'm pretty sure that we can get you one. We think we're pretty good, but so does Gartner. We are on the upper right-hand corner of the Gartner Magic Quadrant for unified communication. Our customers think we're pretty good, but we have a long way to go from that upper right-hand corner to the very upper right-hand corner. And that is definitely somewhere we're going to go. And one of the reasons why we are considered by Gartner to be a pretty good player in the industry is the fact that we have that full breadth. We incorporate the rich communication that any communications platform would need to do. So we all know this. No longer is the PC the dominant way of working. It's one way of working. But more and more often, we find ourselves working on tablets, on smartphones. And these are running on completely different operating systems than the design that was, or the software design that was originally implemented for Windows PCs. And that requires a new way of thinking from an architecture perspective. So what you need to think about is to have that one architecture that just enables applications, regardless of what device you're going to have. The life cycle of a smartphone, how much is that? 2-3 years, and then it's broken. You need to get a new one, and perhaps that model is no longer available. So you need to make sure that from a communications perspective, you are supporting stuff that has not yet hit the market. With a Cisco solution, you can do that because we are vendor agnostic. We don't care what the endpoint is. We just care that it's standards-based SIP signaling, and that's it. Another thing that has become important with the rise of mobile devices and smart devices is the fact that previously, where Microsoft had been a big player in the PC industry for just a couple of years ago, their importance within the industry has diminished. In fact, right now, we are selling, or in the industry, more smart devices that are connected to the internet are sold than PCs. And this is something that you as IT managers need to take into consideration when you're planning your solution. The question, for how long is the solution going to be that you choose? Will it support devices that will not necessarily be in the market right now? Can we support your employees coming in with a tablet and they just want it to work? And it needs to be working in a secure way and in a manageable way. Those are the key questions that IT managers have to think about. So, from a Microsoft perspective, and I do represent Cisco, I would say that the guy that is hanging over there, Steve Ballmer, in his New York office, he's probably looking a little bit scared what's going to happen in the market. I would say, let's shut the window on these guys. They will be out pretty soon, and we will put up definitely a big fight around this. So what do we want to enable? We want to enable people to work on any device. We want to enable people to sit in their office with highly units that enable rich communication. I want to be able to work with you, for example, Mr. Avo, so that we are, although I'm in Helsinki and you might be in Tallinn or any other town, we have that connection going on. With that small webcam, integrated webcam on SD quality video, I'm not able to read you. With this type of device, we can connect to the whole world in a full HD manner. We can see each other, we can talk to each other, we have surround sound, and that is really important if we want to make and really work with each other. So it's not only about having a video image, it's about having good quality, intelligent video. We want to enable people to not work from the office and not having to worry about security things, not the IT managers having to worry about what devices, what kind of security threats there are. And that's where hardware endpoints, video endpoints, although the user might have a PC, become so much more reliable. It doesn't break down, unless you drop it, of course. But then it's another story. Having a PC is great, but when you really start working on an international scale, and when you start relying on that piece of equipment, that never should fail, never, ever in a million years. And if you're running a company where your board members or high up enough executives are sitting in meetings, talking to each other, not traveling, that is one of the most important things, is to enable them to actually enjoy sitting in meetings. In the later part of my presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means. So we set the scene. What we need is one platform enabling different types of units, irregardless of whether those units are in the market yet. It needs to be high quality. It needs to be there all the time. So reliability and high availability is one of the key issues. So when I talk to my customers, and if you are working as an IT manager, you might necessarily not know what the top daily concerns of the business decision makers are. I'm going to share with you the top 20 concerns that I'm being faced with when I talk to my customers. First, the most important thing of any company, sales. These are the top things they're talking about. they ask me the following questions. What can Cisco do in terms of bringing good quality solutions to make sure the sales forecasting and accuracy of that forecasting is good? What can we do using visual communications to make sure that the success rate of any given deal is as high as possible? Is there anyone in the room who is in sales? Just raise your hand. Great, you're all IT managers. One of the biggest concerns of a sales manager is it worth the while going to a customer, traveling 1 hour or 90 minutes to a customer, meeting up with a customer, and perhaps getting a no from the customer? Of course he needs to meet the customer. But using visual communications, what you can do is you can meet the customer again and again and again, and you can have a conversation with the customer without having to go to the customer. We need to bring the kind of solutions where we are not relying on the fact that the customer does have or does not have a video hardware endpoint. We need to enable software on the customer side that enables us to have a good conversation from the office to the other office without having to travel. So in fact, what it means is not only do you save time and money, but you actually change the relationship between your customer and yourself. That is where success rates come in. And this is how you use video communications to enable sales. Being with your customer all the time. You can work with more customers and you can get your sales going. If you're in product development, one of the biggest questions I get from my customers is, will the product that they are developing, will it be good enough? And secondly, once the product has been developed, how will my salespeople know what to sell? So you've probably all been there. A product hits the market, but nobody understands the product. It's a complicated product. And what we can do with using video communications is to educate our users, educate the sales force before the product hits the market. So in a way where, for example, I'm a product developer, and I bring a product to market, and I'm counting on you that you should sell the product. What we would do, we would spend time on video communication. We would be in web conferences. I would train you what the product does and what it doesn't. So when you go and meet that one customer, you're able to explain to the customer what the product does. And if for whatever reason you're at the customer and you're unable to explain what it does, you can have a video link back to me and I can explain it to the customer. So again, it's all about enabling sales, making that revenue flow in. Because at the end of the day, that revenue is the revenue that is paying your salary. So it is important. Top management then. Key questions. Do they have the right kind of information? Using video communications, it is possible for a CEO, for example, to dial anyone, a regular sales guy or a product development manager. I'm going to pick on this guy now. So for example, if I'm a CEO and I want to know how the product is going, I could write an email, but you're probably going to give me some funny answer. We all know that. We get emails and then we just do some creative wording and everything sounds as if it's good. But if I call you and I look you in the eye and I say, Mr. Jyrki, how are we doing the project? It would be really embarrassing for you to lie straight into my eyes. So from a management perspective, having video communications is a very powerful tool for being sure that the information I'm receiving is accurate. You're able to read. That's where we need good quality full HD video, to actually read what the person is saying. The last one is human resources. Getting people on board into companies takes time. Did you know that the average time to get a new employee productive in many companies, especially in the IT industry, is 18 months? So for 1.5 years, a person who joins a company is probably fiddling around. He's sitting there really not knowing whom to talk to, how the solution works, how the CRM system works. But by bringing in people who are joining at different times of a year into virtual meetings and doing training, we're able to get people productive much, much quicker than 18 months. It can take 5 months, it might take 6 months, but that means we're adding productivity to the company's operation. And again, revenue goes up. So why is this important? Well, let's take a look at the traditional way of doing things. Normally, when revenue goes up, guess what? Cost goes up as well. The more you sell, the more expensive it is. Now, what we want to do is we want to do this. We want to make your company richer, have them earn more money while driving costs down. That is what we want to do at the end of the day. So, the traditional way of doing things. And I think we all recognize this situation where a sales manager, and this is just one example, and you can think of many examples within your own company. His manager, the managing director of the company, every Monday morning, he will ask the sales director, how much money are we going to make this week or month or quarter. Now, the sales director, if you know your sales director, you can think of your sales director within your company, they might not always know what's going on. They might pretend they think they know what's going on within the company, but the traditional way and normal way for them to operate is to send emails. So they will send emails to sales managers and say, well, how are we doing in you know, this town and in the Western District, and how is this deal coming along? Are we selling these units yet? The sales managers, they turn to their salespeople and they start pressing for answers by email. By now, probably a full day has passed. People are out of the office. They're not reading emails, and emails start flowing around. And the salespeople start calling their customer or sending emails. How is to do? When are you going to order the product? Sales managers don't know. They talk to their own business owners, and eventually we have a thread, a fantastic jungle of emails going around. This is no way of working, and believe me, this is how it works in many European countries. I hope this is not the case in Estonia. I don't think it's the case in Estonia. But what we need to do is to reorganize the way we communicate within the company. So if you just buy hardware video endpoints or software and start using visual communications without changing the way you work, nothing is going to change. So what you need to do is you need to educate your management and the people who are operating the business to work in a new way. So instead of having this linear way of working where you're asking, then you're sending answers to me, and then it just goes on and on and on, and you never come to a conclusion. What we need to do is we need to gather around the topic. How is sales doing? So for example, what we need to do is we need to have tools to collect these, regardless of whether those persons are working from the office, on a mobile device, from home, or anywhere else. We need to be able to collect people into a virtual meeting, regardless of the endpoints. That is something we do, and that is something that will bring success to your company. And by doing this, you're changing the whole metabolism of your company. The trick here is, how do you communicate to your managers? So here's one way of doing it. We need to focus on certain areas. So if you look over here, I have divided up 4 areas where we can use visual communications that will drive measurable results to your employer. For example, research and development, sales, HR, and just the operating of your company will become more efficient. We can drive up sales if we identify the factors that are important for an R&D manager, for an HR manager, for a sales manager. And what we can do is we can drive down cost. If we start working together, I will be the one focusing on how to make sales go through the roof for your employer. Marius here, he will talk about savings. And together, we can come up with numbers that actually make sense. So here's an example of a customer who actually made plus 15% sales during 1 year, just by changing the way they operate, getting rid of that big email threads going around. Instead of doing weekly meetings, they did daily meetings using visual communication. They saved a lot of money, but at the end of the day, money matters. So here's a calculation of what actually happened. 50 person staff, 10 million euro turnover, 90% cost. That was the cost structure of that particular company. They do good money, 1 million euro result every year, which is kind of okay. But if you really want to change the way you work, and if you want to be there driving your own business, you need to become more efficient. So one way of doing it is to say, that plus 14% in revenue, how much is that in real money? It is, in fact, 1.61 million euros more money in profit. That's pure profit that is going in. So 610,000 euros is extra money just by changing the way we work. And that is real money, and that is the money your managing director or your owners will start thinking about. So what do you need to get started? How do you get going on this? There are 2 ways of doing it. You can go gradually, but I don't believe in gradual progress. I believe in big bang progress. Because only when you announce change is when you can make things happen. If you start introducing change slowly, 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 people get used to it, people disregard it. You need to throw people into the pool at the deep end. So here's an example of what we can do with a 50-person strong company. If we really want to achieve that success, that extra 610,000 euro, is to give video soft phones on any device they want, any device they use, for everybody at a certain rate per month. We need to have hardware video endpoints to get that full quality, that full HD experience, so that we can talk to each other on a really face-to-face basis. And we need to have video bridging capabilities for all of those out there who do not have video soft phones, who do not have video hardware, so that we can tie them into one solution. That is what we need. And ladies and gentlemen, in a minute, my colleague Marius Vaitonis is going to talk about the actual things, the savings, what it means. I want to leave you with one thought, and that thought is really about how can you help your sales manager become more successful? How can you help your owners, the owners of your company, be more successful by deploying technology? The investment in technology should always be much, much, much smaller than the actual objective. So for example, if we're looking for 610,000 new euros per year, that's pure profit coming in extra. The investment should be about 10, 15, or 20% of that extra money. So it's a self-funding mechanism. We'll take answers, questions and answers after Marius' presentation, but by now I would like to introduce Marius Vaitonis. Thank you.
Good job.
Here's the clicker.
Okay, thank you. So, hello to all. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Marius, surname Vaitonis. Actually, I'm from Atea, Lithuania, and I am Cisco product manager. I am responsible for all Cisco products, what has a product and solutions, what has a Cisco logo on it, from access points, switches, to video conferencing devices. So today I will continue speaking about video conferencing devices, as Rasmus said. So in Rasmus' presentation, you heard a lot of useful stuff, how you can earn more, speed up processes, use time more efficient, and so on. So now I will speak how you can save money and lowering the cost, the bottom line, which was decreasing. So one video you will see actually on almost each slide, and I will give a translation what it means and what it is a word. So benefits of video communication conferencing for business. Everyone knows it, but it's worth to repeat from a perspective of OneVideo, and OneVideo is actually a service, a new approach to video conferencing, just not pushing you to buy equipment, but just use a service. So the first benefits of video conferencing is cost saving. So we know all of them that cost saving is good and it's actual for company, but I would like to speak a bit wide about this thing. Actually, when I am speaking with a customer, I am trying to ask a question. Dear Mr. Customer, how much does it cost you to go to a meeting with a customer? So customer starts thinking, okay, the fuel costs this amount of money, the car rental costs this amount of money, but no one cares about a time when a sales guy is spending in the car, just sitting and driving a car. Okay, if it's a meeting in, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes driving, but when we are speaking about other countries, other towns, so it makes a lot of losses for the company, because employer gets a fee for his work, and if a sales guy just driving a car, he's not doing his actual work, bringing customers, bringing new opportunities to the company. So of course it saves the time, so it's no argue that to go to a meeting room, it's even faster than to go to other town or other city. In these two steps, we can achieve a higher productivity, and higher productivity speeds up the business processes, so everything can be done faster, and so of course it is an easier communication between partners, departments, branches of the office. So it's a way to share ideas, to share knowledge how you can be successful in one project or another project. And what about OneVideo? So a bit more about the solution. So everyone knows that video conferencing has a lot of benefits. So why not every company uses it? We saw that the situation is following that not all companies can invest a huge amount of money at a time to boost the changes and have their personal video network. So One video is a service actually for medium and small business, just offering you to have a video conferencing network in a monthly fee base. So you are paying a monthly fee, and you are getting all equipment. You have a hardware, you have a registration to SIP, you have a mobile clients, you have a video recording, streaming, and other functions. And it helps eliminate big investments, big starting investments. So one video has 3 plans. One plan is for personal usage. You can see this device in our booth, Cisco booth. The other is for bigger room, and the last one is for biggest. So it is a based products, based plans, based offering, and you can, to each option, choose additional options. For example, touchscreen devices, dual display, multiple cameras, and so on. So there is actually a 3 basic products. And once again, why one video? Why it's a service? Why it's good to think it's about a video as a service? First of all, it is an excellent way, and it's the easiest way how you can plan your growth. You don't need to think about how much licenses you need, how much licenses you will need further. Will this equipment be enough for future? You just picking up a meeting rooms which must be connected. You're just picking up a person who must have ability to use soft clients to make a video calls to meeting rooms. So it's easy, and the other part about licensing, hardware capabilities, and so on, it's Atea will take an action on this. Simple communication between departments or partners, that's everything is clear, that it helps to communicate, to share knowledge, to discuss about projects. And of course, a service is good, I think, because it's not your own equipment. If something is breaking, you just grab a phone, call to Atea's helpline saying, my device is not working, or it's not working properly. And next business day, you will get a new device. If you have a question how to use this equipment, Atea can help you on this. So you are just using a service like your, I don't know, a GSM phone, mobile phone. And in Rasmus' presentation, he told about saving, how it can help you save money, time. So the story looks great, but let's make calculations based on paper, because to say it's easier than to prove it on paper sometimes. Yes, Rasmus? So I took one basic company, Estonian company, as an imagine. It has 3 departments in Tallinn, Tartu, and Narva, 3 cities. Meetings are held in Tallinn, and 2 employees from each country is going to a meeting every week, so 4 times a week. It is evaluated what is distances between these cities and how much time you should spend on driving if you are not breaking the speed rules and so on. So it's Google Maps data. So if we are wrong, so don't make punish her. Average fuel consumption, how much fuel car eats, and average hourly salary per employee. It's how much worker earns in 1 hour. It's a statistical amount of money, just found it on statistical department page, what is average salary, but we can imagine that guys who is participating in board meetings or other important meetings are earning not an average salary. So how it reflects on calculations. So it was 1 month taken. In usual way, it's estimated how much it costs. So a simple calculation, how it's spent, 4 times meetings per month. Total we have it, this amount is 1,500 euros, actually. The second part is about how much does it cost to move your communication to next level, to video. So there are several plans, several options. In total, we have 400 euros per month. So a company can save 1,000 euros. But now this was calculated that only 6 persons will use this. Actually, yeah, 6 persons will use it. But this device is not, video conferencing is not paid per minute or per, I don't know, megabytes or something like that. It's just a connection with your departments, with your colleagues, with your partners. So it is a wide open gate to use to everyone. Next thing, aeroplanes. Also, it's same situation, Vilnius, Tallinn. It's a Baltic company. It has branches in 2 cities, meeting in Tallinn. One employee is visiting from Vilnius, is flying to Tallinn just to a board meeting once a month to discuss on numbers and projects and so on, to give a review. So average salary is the same from statistics department, but we can also agree that it can be 12 or 13 or 15 euros. And trip time is 10 hours to fly in and fly out in the same day, counting that there is no hotels or next day trips. So how it gets in numbers? Price of tickets is taken from a flight webpage, Air Baltic. How much hours it is spent in the travel. So even if one guy will use in a company video conferencing equipment, it is beneficial for a company. It can save money. Because we can imagine that in this time when he spends 10 hours of traveling or sitting in the airport, he can do he can do his own work and bring more benefits for a company. So what is needed to use a video one? Actually nothing, internet connection. That's it. And there is 2 available resolutions. It's an HD or full HD, and it's requirements for internet connection. But nowadays, I can imagine a company who has no internet connection at all, so it's not a problem. Okay, so that's it from my side. Actually, if you have a question, you can ask it in English, in Russian. I speak both languages. Yeah.
I understand you're not getting videos.
Yes.
So why are you physically here and not through the video?
It's a really great question. I was speaking with Rasmus about our presentation yesterday, and I thought, I said, Rasmus, isn't it silly that I'm speaking about video, how it's safe and flying into Tallinn? So I expected this question. Of course, we cannot say that video conferencing will change the live meetings. It will not happen. Nowadays, new technology is very similar to live meeting, but it is needed to have an opportunity to speak in live, to shake a hand. And actually, I'm working 3.5 years in Atea, and I am responsible for all Baltic states. And first time here, actually. So in the most cases, we're using video.
Let me give you an answer, a very practical answer first to that question, because it's a relevant question. Why meet like face-to-face when you can do video? We needed to install the endpoints. That was number one. We can't do that remotely. They won't do it. The second part is, the times when you need to make a decision, should I use video or should I do live? If there's a decision that needs to be made, if you really need to sit down and make a decision, be there. If you want to talk, if you want to do project planning, if you want to see how things are progressing, use video. That would be the rule of thumb that I would use. Decision making, be there. Planning, ongoing processes, video. You know what? That was a great question. Yeah. You want a bag? It's stacked with all the money we saved. More questions?
There is still a lot of prizes left on the table.
We have an umbrella. I don't want to take them back with me, so questions?
Maybe it's gonna rain in the evening, so it would be a useful gift. Okay, the question I will ask you a question. When the one video will be launched in Estonia? It works in Lithuania. When it will be launched in Estonia? So in next few weeks, 2-3 weeks, it will be ready in Estonia. Give me an umbrella.
Here we go. I'm also going to give out the prizes to the people that I bothered. I normally do that, and it's really annoying, so thank you very much for helping me out in this presentation. There was one more person I was bugging. Where is he? There he is. There we go. It's good to be in the front row, my friends.
Yeah, and one more. Yeah, take it.